Today's video will be a little interactive, so at the very end I'm going to ask you to do something. My question for you today is, do you have a life verse? Do you have a favorite verse? Some people have a favorite verse for different seasons in their lives. I happen to have a life verse that I've had for decades. God's never changed it for me. It's been the one that He chose for me to really base my life on. And I'd love to share it with you today. It's 1 Peter 3:15. It says, "But in your hearts revere Christ as Lord." And I'm going to read it because I say different translations at different times. "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." There's two parts of that verse that just stand out to me, and I always try to remember. And the first is always be prepared. If there's anything that we've learned in recent days is that we sometimes aren't prepared for things. But sharing Jesus does not have to be one of those things. We can always be prepared to share the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. Whether we're at the store or in our home or at work or wherever we might find ourselves. And the second part is always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks. As you may know, living for Jesus, people will see that you're different. They will see how you act in a certain way towards something or someone, or they will see how you react in a certain situation. And curious minds want to know. Chances are good that eventually, if you're really living a life according to God's word and how He asks us to live, people will ask, what's different about you? Or why did you do that thing the way you did? And that's when we can be prepared and be ready to give an answer for the hope that we have in Jesus. So, do you have a life verse? Do you have a verse maybe for your family? Do your kids have verses that they try to live by, or just certain ones that they love very much? So here's the interactive part. If you have a life verse, I would love to read it in the comment section. Put the whole verse out there or just the reference, it doesn't matter. If your kids have a wonderful verse that they live by, share that too. I would love to see the verses that have meant so much to you. And in times like these, God's word even becomes more precious to us. So my encouragement to you is, if you don't have a life verse or a favorite verse, ask God to show you one. Ask Him to direct you to it. And for those of us who have already gotten that verse, may we continue to live by it the best that we can and with God's help. Blessings to you and yours.